people, welcome to another Retro Reverb Records interview. Today's show is supported by the Synthwave Redneck, who has a wonderful show on YouTube called Synthwave Weekly. Go and check it out in the description below. This show is also supported by Hypersynth Blog, who does reviews and he does playlists and interviews. You should check him out. His links are also in the description. Thank you to both.
Hey Lord, 181, you look like you're almost arriving. 516 pasted contrast, leading to the face and now with shallow breathing.
All coming, go one and we'll, I thought it, we'll get back to the zero. I
181, no worries, and the phone is currently on the phone to AAB. Leave that, we're about 15 minutes away.
Hello everyone, I'm Cole and we've got another Retro Reverb Records interview. Today I am joined by...
Your friend Esteves.
Your friend Esteves. I always say Esteves. Thank you for saying that the right way before the interview carried on. Now I know you're going to save me for future interviews saying that incorrectly as well. What's your first name?
Joao.
Joao, okay. And I'm pretty sure those are Portuguese names, is that correct?
That is a Portuguese name. It's a very common name, actually. It's probably would translate to something like John or Sean or something like that.
I only know it. I only know it because I used to play football with a guy called Joao. Everyone used to call him John, but I tried to make a point of calling him by his actual real name.
Good.
It was easier to say John sometimes, but I don't think Joao's that hard.
No, it's easy. Yeah.
Pretty challenging. And what part of Portugal are you originally from?
Yeah, so I grew up just outside Lisbon, little town. My parents were born in that little town, so we kind of were all born and raised just a few miles outside Lisbon. But yeah, you know, teenage life, grown up life was mainly inside Lisbon.
Lisboa. And when did you leave?
I left about eight years ago, and that's when I relocated to Dublin. So I now live in Ireland, and this is where I settled. And it's a beautiful country. The weather kind of creeps me out sometimes, but you know, it is. Yeah, it's a beautiful country. I love it here.
Yeah, very green as well. Did you learn English in Portugal, or did you kind of learn as you went across to Ireland? Because your English is very good.
Thank you. In my generation, most people would have learned English from age 10, all throughout high school. So the movies are subtitled, so you know, you grow up hearing words in movies and quickly repeating them, and you know, cool and son of a bitch and something like that.
Is it a case as well, like it's very the same here in Sicily? Is it a case that a lot of people are quite motivated to learn English because it will help them with their job prospects and maybe, you know,
I don't think it was the case. I don't think it was the case at all. It was really just, you know, learning a culture, and especially American culture, you know, movies, music. It was all coming from the States back in the 80s. So that was all we got through radio, to telly. That was it.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, the listeners can probably hear that you've got a bit of an Irish accent, which I think is great. You've picked that up over the 8 years, which it shows you've got a musical ear, being able to pick up the sounds. And also, just looking at your studio there, it looks like you've got quite a lot of equipment, which speaks to me of somebody who's invested in their music and takes it seriously. When did you start getting involved in music?
That's let's go back to the start. My parents sang in a choir, and they would have a weekly rehearsal, which meant little Joao would go with them, 4 years old. And so I kind of grew up around that environment, and I used to dabble in the organ during the breaks. And I started getting organ and piano lessons at age 5, and around age 12, I thought, you know, piano is not cool. I want to play guitar like Slash. So that's when I tried to learn guitar. I didn't have a guitar for a number of years, but then I learned guitar, and I played guitar reasonably well. And I think it was in high school that we wanted to make Metallica's cover bands, and it was just like typical group of boys in high school, and it was like 4 guitar players, no bass players, no drummers. And I said, oh, I played drums once with my piano teacher, and then it was like assignment of roles. Okay, you did it once, so you're now the drummer. And and that's what we did. I used to play in the air. I didn't have drums for years, but we were already playing gigs, and I didn't have a set of drums, which was really cool. And that ended up being what I really love to do, playing drums. And I've been playing in bands as a drummer for, I don't do it right now, but until a couple of years ago, I was since age 15. So for 15
So would you say that that's your strongest suit then, the drums, compared to keyboards and guitar?
I'd say that's where I was strongest. And then the story with electronic music is when I was in college, I was doing a bit of drum and bass, just all in the computer. And a few years ago, when the band I was playing with kind of split up, I was stuck with a bunch of drum gears, and I was like, you know, I can't play at home. I sold the whole thing, and I said, you know, feck drums, and I'm just gonna invest this somewhere else. And I bought a synth, and yeah, there you go, big problem. You know,
Oh.
you buy one synth, and then this happens.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it for two reasons. Go. The first is I can do whatever I want at home. I can actually release music without waiting for others, and I can produce the whole thing end to end. And I'm such a geek, you know, turning all the knobs and fixing things and all the cables. I just love this world.
Got a bit of a man cave going on there, haven't you?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, listen. Right, so the name, Your Friend, say it again for me one more time, Esteves?
Esteves. Yeah.
Esteves, sorry, Your Friend Esteves is it's a very friendly and personal name. Why did you choose that?
I was going for cheesy. I was thinking, you know, if this was a 80s high school band, they'd probably pick a really cheesy name. Like, so I didn't try to get very, actually the first, I was at work talking to one of my friends, and he said, oh, you could call it like go real like, real cheesy, like the musical stylings of Your Friend Esteves. And I was like, oh, that's so unusual. It's so cheesy that I'll probably use it. And then it was just too long, and I thought, like, you know, Your Friend Esteves, and you can, it's easy to say. I like that it happens to be my surname, but I liked it because I kind of link it to that Hispanic culture of Miami. And I felt like, you know, that's going to sound well along with the few palm trees and, you know, the color scheme.
Yeah, I like it too. I like the personal thing. Obviously, we've got Welcome to the Family. You've got Your Friend. I'm totally down with that. I can see that angle working and why it works. Okay, listen. You've been with us now on RetroReverbRecords for, well, not for very long. I'm sure now, a couple of months.
Couple of months, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in that time, I've noticed that, you know, you're sort of very hardworking and methodical. You alluded to it earlier on that you like to make sure that you know how everything on your synth work. You touch every knob, you fiddle around with everything until you understand it very well, which I've appreciated, because your folder, for example, is very well organized and easy to navigate from my point of view. But my question is, so you're a hardworking guy. Do you think that in this industry, though, talent is enough, or do we need extra stuff as well?
Yeah, definitely extra stuff. I mean, so, yeah, that's such a funny one. I was talking, I'll answer with two examples. The first one is a story. I was talking to a guy that has a startup company the other day, and we were talking, and I told him, look, I have a music project. Sounds like what we do is very much the same. Like, you're trying to build a company, I'm trying to build you know, this artistic idea, but it's very much you have moments where you have talent, which is probably, to be honest with you, it's probably like 30% for me. There's moments where you sit down and you're just, you could write, I love it when people say, I wrote this album in a week or a couple of days. Yeah, you wrote it, but you didn't record it, mix it, mastered, promoted it, you know, got people, you know, you end up wearing many hats in this. And sometimes you know, I don't really get up on a Sunday morning trying to think, oh, can't wait to go on Instagram and promote things. And for a while I was like, this is not me. I want to do music. But you know what? I've learned to love it because it's part of what I like doing. It's like, you do the songs, but you have to love the other bits as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, just referring to the social media side, yeah, you know, obviously, I totally understand. As you know, we've just recently got a social media guy on board who does all that kind of stuff. He really enjoys it. I mean, I would say you have to learn to enjoy genuine engagement on social media, because when you get genuine engagement and they're actually interested, and these are people who've listened to your music, that is kind of what it's all worth. You know, that's what it's about. Sorry, not what it's all worth. That's what it's, you know, that's why we do it. That we want genuine engagement. We want people to understand the effort and the energy and the passion that we've put into it. So you take everything, you have to take a little bit, but I do know what you mean. There's so many hats, there's so many facets. But like you said, you do enjoy the fact that you can do this whole process from the start to the end. So you've got almost full control, and you're not waiting on anyone or having to sort of compromise something you believe in a sound.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Which is great, you know. And on the other hand, then you don't have anyone saying, "Oh, you know what, this sounds shit." But then you get that from the label now because we've got 18 artists.
Yeah, and it's so important to have someone to tell you that, you know, this is not good enough.
Yeah.
There's a danger with electronic solo artists that you do everything, and you know, and you get a lot of people that do sessions up to 2 a.m. and then the next day you listen to it and it's like, oh, what the hell was I on last night? Yeah, but you need someone to actually. I was just recording a couple of videos last night, and I was explaining the album, the EP that we're about to release, and I said it was originally 8 tracks, but 4 of them were crap. So, you know, just bend them, you know, let them go.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as one of my jobs is like running the label is, you know, the sort of constructive criticism bit, which is easier. The more you know somebody, the easier it is. So like when you get a new artist on board, so we had that moment, didn't we, when you sent me across your stuff and I had to sort of, you know, say 1 or 2 bits and bobs, but thankfully you took it really well and listened. And then I, you know, took it on board, and you weren't defensive about it at all, which was a good sign for me, because I've had people who go, no, you're like, whoa, you know, I'm just suggesting something. So it's a really difficult thing and an important thing for artists to be able to do to a certain degree. But at some point you've got to put your faith behind your own sound and say, no, this is what I want, and go with it, kind of thing. But you know, the little tweaks here and there are.
Oh yeah, and even to a whole track, like people have to be open to the fact that, you know, if it's not working, and often you build a track and it's like, it's almost, there's something weird about it that, you know, it's I can listen to it once, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't know how to explain, and that's what probably, you know, separates brilliance from, you know, just doing a few songs. Some guys are brilliant at putting the whole thing together, whether by education or talent. But sometimes you just feel that, and if you feel that you don't love it, just maybe it's not.
Yeah, I get fixated sometimes where I create a sound and I really love the sound, and I'm just trying too hard to work the sound into the song because it comes up and I'm like, yeah, I love that. So it's either change the whole song so it fits the sound, or but take that sound out and put it in a different song. Yeah. But I'm like, no, I want it in there. And I have to kind of go, no. Okay, listen, last question about you, and then we'll move on to the quick fire round. So you've got a single coming up on Tuesday with us, next Tuesday, which is the
16th.
Yep,
16th.
It's called Silicon Highway. What was the inspiration behind the name?
So funny. So on that track, so there's a guy I play with, Keith, and the idea before lockdown, the idea was to do a few gigs, and Keith plays guitar and he sings. So the set was going to be 2 guys on stage. I play synths and guitar. He plays guitar and sings, and I sing. And I showed them the track and I said, look, record some guitars on that, will you? And there's a few drafts in there, and he recorded it, and it said like, oh man, this track is so smooth, you should call it Silicon Highway, something like that. And then I just thought, you know, I don't know where the name is coming from, but let's build a theme around that. And so I started building a concept around those 2 words. Then later I come up with the concept of the album, the whole thing, girl from Titan, born in Titan, you know, raised, and then Silicon Highway represents the sad sort of insightful moment where this girl decides, you know, this is a bad situation, I'm going to try to escape the moon. And then you have the 4th track that is the escape.
Cool. Yeah. So obviously as well, just to quickly mention, you've got your EP coming up. I actually can't remember the release date off the top of my head. Sorry. Do you remember it?
It's April 16th.
April 16th. Thank you very much. I've got a spreadsheet for that. I don't keep them in there. But yeah, it's funny that you say sometimes it can be a word, a name of a song, an image. Sometimes it's not the music that creates the concept around the music. That's like you've got something, you grab hold of something you like, and then you build that idea. And sometimes it can be a sound, sometimes it can be one song, but other times it can be the name of the song or whatever, and the whole thing comes from there. All right, excellent. Right, well, we'll look forward to what I look forward to. the EP, and I'm sure when people listen to it, they will enjoy it too.
Cool. Thank you.
So that'll be all over social media coming up. Recently, so look out for it, guys. Right, are you ready for the quick fire rounds?
Let's do this.
Get your muscles going. Right, try and say the first word that comes into your mind. Right. Okay. So, first question. You're Portuguese. You have children with an Irish lady, and you live there. Who do you support in the football? Ireland or Portugal?
Portugal. That's a no-brainer.
Okay, cool. I'm just wondering when you're in the pub and stuff, and if they ever play each other, is it a bit awkward? Do you have to be a bit careful?
No, not awkward. Portugal.
just openly shouting Portugal.
Look, I have to pick the winner. And if it's rugby, I support Ireland. There you go.
Okay. All right. Who's better then? In the same theme, in that talking about football. Who's better? Ronaldo, is in Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously, or Messi?
Ronaldo.
Okay, right. You've got a lot of synthesizers in the background there. What's your favorite synthesizer?
Oh, this one, the Prophet 5.
Prophet 5, right, excellent. Stupid question. Which do you prefer, sea or the mountains?
Sea.
Quick, straight out there. Right, what's the best thing about having kids?
Oh, man.
He didn't know the answer to that one.
Jesus. After a night of no sleeping, yeah. I'd say probably when they make a joke at you and you all laugh together.
Okay, how old are your kids, quickly?
3 and 1, so the 3-year-old's getting witty.
Yeah, okay, right, yeah, talking and answering back. And what's the worst thing about having kids?
Not sleeping at night.
Sleep deprivation, I couldn't agree with more. Okay, do you have an artist in the scene that you admire, that you look up to, who you'd like to work with?
For a while, I think going back, I'm fortunate enough, actually, a lot of the work from Alex Vecchietti, really enjoyed the stuff he's doing. Hopefully we'll do a collab together. I like, I'm trying to run away from the obvious, superstars like the Midnight or Gunship, but, they have like the style that I'm aiming for a little bit here and there.
I think the Midnight have got a formula that works. To their sounds. Yeah.
I think the bit that I like the most is the singer, his voice, his lyrics. They're probably very folk inspired, very Americanized, but there's something there that just, especially the sing. If I do collab, I do it with him, not the Midnight.
All right, there we go. Excellent. What's your favorite way, or in your opinion, the best way to relax?
The sea, going out to the sea for a swim or a surf. That's my peaceful moment.
Are you close to the sea?
I am, yeah. So I'm fortunate enough, just a few miles away.
Yeah.
So
I'm 5 minutes from the sea, literally 5 minutes. So
your sea is probably a lot warmer than mine.
Definitely. We've got jellyfish in ours though, so.
Oh no.
And I have been stung, and it wasn't nice.
Oh.
Okay. I'm not sure if you'll know this. You might do, you might not do. Are you familiar with the cartoon Transformers?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Transformer?
Optimus Prime has to be.
Optimus Prime. Do you know, I always like Bumblebee for some reason. I'm not sure why. And if it was a Decepticon, I would go with Soundwave. He was cool, man. Soundwave was cool.
Oh, yeah. Optimus had that whole thing. It was bigger, and it was like he was the boss.
He was the alpha dog. He was the pure leader, pure moral guidance. I like it. Okay. Fry up or a healthy breakfast?
Ooh, depends on the day. Today I had a healthy breakfast. If I was hungover, a fry up.
Right. Okay. I had a fry up today. Right. Vocal synthwave or instrumental synthwave?
I like them both, and I don't discard one over the other. I like them both, and I like to mix them both actually myself.
Okay, fair enough. Right. 80s films, Aliens or Predator? Alien or Predator?
Predator. Dylan, you son of a bitch.
All right. What's your favorite thing from the 80s? Just one thing that you love from the 80s.
Top Gun.
Top Gun, right. Okay. What color is snow?
White.
What color is vanilla ice cream?
White.
What color is milk?
White.
What do cows eat?
Grass, not
Well
milk.
done. Can you remember the name of the magician in the He-Man cartoon?
Oh man.
He was like a
I
dorky
know.
kind of.
Like the wizard with the hat and
Yeah, he was a bit useless.
I can't remember.
Okay, Orko, I think it was. Orko.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here's a difficult one, right? What is the name of the novel that the Blade Runner movie was based on? I didn't know this. I had to look this up today. I'm surprised.
One of my best friends is a huge fan, and I always forget that. I give up. I don't know.
Do androids dream of electric sheep?
Exactly. Yeah. I
was like, what? That's weird. Right. Okay. This is the last question of the quickfire round. Another 80s based trivia question. Which of these was not made in the 80s? The Breakfast Club, Revenge of the Nerds, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope?
Star Wars.
It was. I think it was 1970.
78 or 9 or
yeah,
maybe
something like that.
earlier.
Yeah, 78, 79. Okay. Right, that's the end of the quickfire round. You did very well. Excellent. Well done. Just before we leave, would you like to make any shout outs, any mentions, anything you want to say before the end of it?
Well, I'd like to say that we have a number of really good artists now in the label. I'm really enjoying listening to all the stuff that's coming out, but I'd probably say before, go listen to all of them and make sure you also listen to the released single this week and the EP that's coming up on my accounts. But there's one thing, yeah, I'm gonna finish with a big shout out. Lately, I kind of came to sense that, you know, it feels really good to spend a few bob on Bandcamp, to get a few vinyls here and there, to get a few tapes. Actually, look, I just got the. You can probably see this one.
Yeah,
and you know, I'm loving it, and it's such a look. It's cheap enough, and it's a great thing to have. And you can tell by my background, I love to collect music, so it's such a fun thing. And don't see it as something you listen to, but see it as something that you're supporting each other, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and that doesn't just go for music, that just goes for all the arts. You know, it's a difficult time and people put a lot of time and energy into this, and it is their livelihood. So, you know, you can go and grab it for free if you want, really, but it does make a huge difference if you just, you know, if you've got it. If you don't, obviously, you know, don't spend money you don't have. But if you do have a little bit of money, surplus money, go and support any artists in any of the arts. I think that's a wonderful message. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
My pleasure.
And speak to you soon.